Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Prayer Before the Bell Plus. I'm your host, Prophet Norma, and I am so glad that you are here with me today. All right, before we get started, I want you to go ahead and share the broadcast with at least 2 to 3 people. Tag 2 or 3 people and let them know that Prayer Before the Bell is on today. Today, I am going to be discussing social media. Social media is big. I mean, we're in a social media world right now. And so, we're in the month of December and it's Christmas time. And guess what? A lot of children are going to be getting tablets, computers, phones, and all of those things whereby you can reach and you can use any social media platform that you want. And so I want to discuss that today, talking about social media and in terms of our children and what we can do to make sure that they're safe and so on and so forth. All right, so go ahead and share. All right, also as you're sharing, make sure you have your pen, your pencil, or your tablet and your Bible so that you can be ready and you can follow along with me today. All right, let's move forward. Today, again, we are going to be talking about social media. A lot of the thing, most of the things that we do and things that come through, we get through our eye gates and our ear gates. Okay. And so we're going to talk about social media today because it's big. And again, a lot of things are people will be getting electronics, children, and I want to talk about that today. All right. So when we talk about social media, what is social media? Social media is simply website and applications that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking. All right. But we also know that, in doing that, children can get on any site there is, and so in order to prevent that, you have to go on and put on those safeguards, those safety nets. And we'll talk about some of those things, some of those apps that can be used to monitor your children when they're on social media and so on and so forth as we go throughout the broadcast. Social media again is so huge, and I remember a friend of mine, or her son was on social media, and all the time, and they found out that as he was being on social media a lot, he just got to be kind of hateful and just really isolated. And so finally they pulled him off of social media and realized that when they did that, that his attitude and things began to change. Now, first, it began to change for the worse because he was upset that he couldn't stay on social media as much as he was before. But in terms of socializing with people and all of that, that eventually started to come back because, a lot of times these kids have these tablets, they have their television where they can cast their phone to the television, so on and so forth. And they, can oftentimes sometimes become just a babysitter, electronic babysitter, and having them having these phones, having tablets and computers and all of that, and they gaming, sitting on the computer for hours and hours at a time, playing games and so on and so forth. And so eventually, that just kind of becomes their world and becomes their life. And sometimes parents are like, oh, they're just in there playing their game. Oh, they're just in there on their social media talking to their friends, so on and so forth, not realizing that over the course of time, their socialization is going down. They don't enjoy talking to people. The first thing they do or want to do is just grab their electronic device and use it. And we talked about that before. Some several shows ago, I talked about social media addiction and how to know if you are or if your child is addicted to social media. And one of the ways that you can find out or know is that the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is grab your phone and get on social media. I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many people, I've done it before. The first thing, I get up in the morning, you grab your phone, you may be grabbing it to turn off the alarm or whatever the case may be, and then you go on and scroll over and hit Facebook to see what's happening. And you make that a habit. And so to the point to where that's the first thing you do. I get up, I check my social media before I even start getting ready for the day. And so we're going to talk about that today. And some of the things that we talked about in terms of that social media, being addicted to social media, that you're just overly concerned about social media. I got to get on my phone. You can be, it doesn't matter. You can be at work. I see people, I've gone through the line at McDonald's or any fast food restaurant, and I see the people, see the staff with the phone right next to the cash register, and you're giving your order and they're on their phone, texting on the phone, phone sitting right there by the cash register, and they're on the phone, and then eventually they'll come and finish doing your order, getting your money or whatever. But it just goes to show you that this whole social media thing, this whole addiction to social media is real and it's big. And so in terms of coming up on Christmas and getting your kids those electronic devices, you want to be able to, and those who already have them as well, to be able to monitor what your kids are doing on social media, because there are a lot of good things to do on social media, and there are a lot of bad things that come through social media as well. And so we want to make sure that you know some of the safeguards and safety tools that you can use to monitor their usage, monitor where they go on social media. We know some of the popular social media outlets are, Facebook, we have Twitter, and Instagram, all of those things, Snapchat. And so you want to be able to, if your kids have phones and they're young kids or even teenagers, wherever they can go anywhere. You got to do is type in anything, and it'll pop up on the phone, because the phone and smartphone in and of itself is just like, to me, a little small compact computer. And so I'm going to give you some sites and things that you can look at and put on your phone, if you don't know about them, that you can put on your kids' phones to make sure that you can monitor what they're doing when they're on social media. All right. Some of the other things that behavioral that lets you know that a kid or it could be anybody, don't necessarily have to be a kid, it could be an adult, that they're addicted to social media, is that they're driven by an uncontrolled urge to log on or to use social media. I've seen people going places, people in the grocery store, they have the basket, scooting the basket, got the phone, looking at social media on the phone while they're pushing the basket. You're hard pressed now to even go drive down the street and you see people on their phones in their cars. You look over, you can tell they're distracted because they're kind of weaving back and forth in traffic or so on and so forth. And when you come up next to them, you realize, oh, they were on the phone, they're texting and doing all these things. And the thing about that is, people really think that, hey, I'm in control of this, I got it, I'm on my phone, I'm driving, I'm doing whatever, I'm in control. But how many of you know that that's not the case? Everybody always tends to think that I'm the person that it can happen to. I won't be the person who's on my phone driving through traffic and cause an accident. I won't be that person because I'm in control. And I want to say to you today to not think like that. I want you to really take that thinking out of your psyche, out of your mind, out of your thoughts, because that could happen to anyone. And if you go on social media, if you go on Google News, whatever the case may be, in Yahoo News, you go on and you see time and time again, article after article, news story after news story about people who that happened to in traffic on their phone, and caused an accident. And what do they say when you read the story? Well, I didn't intend to. I mean, I didn't mean to do it. But you really can't say you didn't mean to do it, because at the end of the day, that you shouldn't be on the phone if you're operating a vehicle at all. And so the fact that you chose to do it when you pretty much knew better, you can't really say, I didn't know, I wasn't trying to, I didn't mean to. And so the fact that, the only thing about it is now, because you've gotten away with it so many times, but now here you are, you have caused an accident, and now you have to deal with the consequences of that. And so I want to admonish you, parents, in this season, and admonish you, youngsters and teens who are watching, teens who are able to drive, you college students who are able to drive and do drive, as you're going throughout even this holiday season. Those of you who will be getting those new phones and all of those things, to make sure that you are not texting and driving and all of those things. Be mindful of that, because you're not just driving for you, you're also driving for the other people on the road. And you want to make sure that not only are you safe and that you make it home safely, but that you don't cause an accident and cause someone else not to be able to make it home to their families. Okay. And so make sure that during this time, and parents, I admonish you as well, and I'm sure many of you do, when your kids leave, especially if they drive, you tell your teens, you tell your college age students, hey, don't be driving and talking on the phone, don't be driving and texting, but continue to just, drive it home. You can't say it enough. because people are going to get in the car and they're going to think that they're bigger than, texting, and they'll do it, and then at some point it will be them that someone's reading about in the newspaper, that whether they caused the accident or whether they were on the receiving side of someone hitting them from someone being on social media. All right, so make sure that during this season, this holiday season, that you are also encouraging your children not to be on their electronic devices when they are behind the wheel of a vehicle. All right. Also, is that some of the signs, and I'm going to read through this list because I think it's good and it bears repeating here again today. Some of the telltale signs of social media addiction. One of them is the first thing, again, first thing you do is you get up and you check your phone. Second thing is that you're anxious when you can't check your social media. I've been to work, when I worked in the hospital. One of the things is obviously you can't be on your phone at work, and people are getting up, going to the bathroom, trying to go so that they can check their social media. I need to see what's happening on this. And you're hard pressed anymore to go, to be at a job or anything. I read an article actually where they were talking about that the millennials, that you're hard pressed to hire millennials, and then they come in and are not on their cell phone because they came in the age of cell phones and computers, right in hand. And so oftentimes if you're in a workspace, just do it in your workplace. Go around when you're going to the restroom or when you're going about the different places in your workplace, and just count and see how many people you see on their phones, on their cell phones, in the workplace, because it's big. People are so addicted to their phones, addicted to social media. I got to see the next thing that's happening on Facebook, on my friend's page. I got to see the next thing that's coming up on Instagram. I can't miss anything. So it's constant. I mean, that's why it's constant streaming. It's, social media is constant streaming. Something is constantly going. And so that's what you do. You go home and you look at your phone and you see what's happened throughout the day. If, again, or you're these people that are addicted to social media where you're looking at it all day long, in between doing things, working or whatever, picking up the phone, seeing what's happening. All right. And they said also you neglect your hobbies and your favorite things, because now social media has become your new favorite. And so you're constantly on that phone. All right. When I was thinking about this, when I started this out by talking about our eyes are, a gate into our souls. We have our ear gates where we hear things come through our ears. How many times have you been in a grocery store or something and they're playing music overhead? Now you're not even thinking about the music that's playing or anything. You're just in the grocery store, shopping, and you come out of the grocery store and you're going back to your car with the things that you bought, and you find yourself singing the song that was playing overhead from when you were in the grocery store. And that just shows you how your ears, things that are coming through your ears, how easy it is to begin to pick up on them. Same thing with the eyes. Children, kids, adults, anybody watching TV. The more you talk about people who watch horror movies all the time, over and over and over again. I remember working in a hospital, and we would have children who would come in, and a lot of those children like to watch horror movies. They'd always talk about they like those, Freddy Krueger and Chucky and all of that. And they talk about these horror movies that they like, that, those are my favorite movies. I like horror movies. But then they tended to also be the ones who had a lot of nightmares, because in your subconscious those things begin to come up. And so they'd have nightmares about what they saw, which lets you know that the things that you take in your eye gate begin to get down in you, and begins to have an effect on you, just like those scary movies do. And so, and they would, time and time again, it never failed. Anytime those kids would say, I love scary movies, a lot of times many of them had nightmares. And so you have to be careful, and you have to be watchful over what your children are looking at on social media, especially the younger kids, even your teens. And some things that you can do in terms of that, I want to go over some of those too. Some, so that you can, things that you can do in terms of monitoring what they are watching, and having to just kind of putting a grip on that, a tight grip on it, because a lot of times these kids are, they wake up, they're going to school and they're sleepy, and you're like, why are you so sleepy when you go to school? You go to bed at such and such a time. Why are you so sleepy? Well, you're thinking a lot of times that they're going to bed, but if they're going to bed with if they have their phone when they go to bed, oftentimes they are on that phone until 2 and 3 in the morning. And then by the time it's time to get up, they're so tired and then sleepy all day. And then they come home and want to sleep all the time. It's probably because they've been on their phone. And so some of the things that you can do to help even break some of that social media addiction and that use of, it says have them turn their phone off at a specified time. If you have young kids that, hey, when you 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, turn your phone off and bring them to me. I'm keeping the phone. You can get your phone back, well, whenever you say that they can have it back, but not allowing them to take their phones to bed, because a lot of times, as I just said, they're not sleeping. They're going to bed and they're looking at their phone. They're playing games. And we know it because we can get on the phone and be following the news. And by the time you go on and look at one article of news, and you find out you've looked at 10 articles about the same subject matter, in just a matter of time, and you think just maybe 10 or 15 minutes has gone away, and you look back and you're at an hour and a half of looking at articles or whatever it is that you're looking at. And so for them, they'll do the same thing, go to bed, and you think they're asleep and in their room, and they're not, they're on their phone. So that's one of the things you can do, is that you can have them turn the phone off at a specified time. You can also track their social media usage. Now, Facebook, it'll tell you how long you've been on the phone, and even Google will go on and tell you how much time you spend on social media, even so much so it'll tell you where you've been all week or for the month or whatever. And so excuse me, you have to be excuse me, I'm gonna plug this up. Be mindful of that, because it it does matter, being on the phone, being on that phone all the time. All right. So you have to track your social media usage, and I'm gonna go through and here shortly, and I'm gonna give you some of the sites or apps that you can use to be able to track their your children's usage, track where they've been, block apps and uh, apps and places that you don't want them to go, websites that you don't want them to go to. And so I'll give you some of that here in just a minute. Also, it says, one of the things you can do is turn off the push notifications. I remember, man, I had my emails, I had a certain ding for my emails, had a certain, for two different email addresses, had a ding for, I had my alarm dinging and all kind of things. And so all through the night, something is dinging. So I had to go in on my own phone and turn off the notifications to my emails, because you subscribe to some of these things, they send you several emails a day, and so that thing is binging all the time. And so I had to go in and pause them, turn them off, so, and then just make myself go look at it and not get the notification that it's there. Because if you have several different places that you have emails coming from, then you're going to have them coming constant, and so that dinging is going to be constant. So you have to go. So I went in and I had to just pause notifications and just go in at a certain time of day and check my emails and do different things. So you can, that's something else that you can do. And so those are just a few things that you can do to be able to begin to pull them back, or pull yourself back off of social media. Now, I don't tend to turn my phone off because, well, you never know what's going to happen, but I'll leave it on vibrate. So if it does vibrate through the night, that I can hear it. It's loud enough that I can hear it. But those are some a few things that you can do in terms of children and teens and so on and so forth, in terms of kind of pulling back on that social media, trying to break that social media habit. All right. Um, I want to go over here. I told you I was going to tell you about a few things that few websites or apps that you can use to monitor your children's social media on social media. One of them is called uh, Norton Family, and so Norton Family is some of the features are filtering, time management. It'll do the whole time management, let you know how much time you spend on on social media. Also, location tracking. It has app supervision and other features. You can go through and check them out for yourself, because these are all just things that I just went in on online and check to see what apps are out there to help filter and help parents monitor, or you monitor your kids social media and their phones or whatever, so that they're not getting into things that they shouldn't be. Because there's, like I said, there's a whole lot of good things out there. We know you can use social media, you can do research for homework, and you have the videos that you can have for class and all different things, very useful. Pull up definitions, go to the dictionary, go to etymology of words and thesaurus, all of that. You can find all of those good things on your computer, on the phone, on your tablet. But you also, again, there are so many other things also that kids can just accidentally key in the wrong thing and end up on the website or somewhere that they shouldn't be. And so these are just things that you can use if you want to put a safety net on your children's phone, tablet, or whatever. And another one is called and again, these are just a few that I looked up online, and you can go and check them out yourself, because it's really based on each person's individual need. It's based on what you need for your child, or whatever the case may be. So, and teenagers as well, whatever you would need for your teen. If you wanted to just put a limit on how much time they can spend on social media, you go in and you choose which one of these apps, safety apps, is good for them. Parental control app software is good for them. All right. Another one is called Net Nanny, NET Nanny, like you have a nanny. And some of the features are web filtering, time management, it'll block apps, and it also mask profanity. Now again, choose which one best fits your needs for your family, or for your child. Okay. And they also have one called Casper Sky Safe Kids. And it has content filtering, it has screen time management, it has real time alerts, and GPS for child locator on it. And they also have McAfee Safe Family. And some of the features for that is app blocking, web filtering, location tracking, and screen time management. Again, that's important. That screen time management, and also being able to block or filter websites for your kids and your teens. All right, and then they have one called Bark, B as in boy, Bark. And it's some of the features are social media monitoring. So again, this will monitor how much time you spend on social media content. It'll filter the content. Again, screen how much time you've spent on it and where you're going, and alerts for potential issues. And so this one provides alerts. And then they have one called Screen Time, and it has some of the features are daily. It does daily time limits, so you can set time limits for how much phone use uh, how much use on social media for them. Bedtime schedules. It also has app blocking and usage reports, so you can get a usage report on that one. And they have some other ones. They have one called Family Safe, and some other ones. Family Link by Google, that's another one. And you can go and look those up and see if that's something you want to do. Again, we're in the season of Christmas time, and many kids, if they don't already have some type of electronic, are going to be getting tablets, computers, smartphones. And so these are just some things that you can use uh, for them in terms of helping to keep them safe. Since we are, excuse me, on Prayer Before the Bell Plus, we're fighting for the souls of the next generation. And we know that there are so many things that come through the eye gate and the ear gate. And so we are here on today. I wanted to just talk about social media today and give you some tips on social media addiction, how you can identify them, and give you some of the apps that they have, or software that they have, for you to be able to set up on your children's phones or teens' phones, to help monitor where they're going and what they're doing on their phones. Okay. And so I hope this has been beneficial to you, and that you can use this in your everyday, because social media is big. And they can, again, you can just hit anything and go anywhere, pretty much anywhere you want on social media. And again, sometimes you just type in the wrong things, especially with text type. You can type in the wrong thing and then end up on a website that you shouldn't be on. And so these things are helpful, and you can limit where they can go. Limit where they can go on their on social media, on their phones, different websites as well. Again, thank you so much um, for joining me today. One of the when I'm going back, one of the things that I was looking at earlier, was reading early part of the week, when I just thought about it in this moment before we close out, is David's eye gate is what got him in trouble with Bathsheba. He was up on top, she was down, he's looking down, saw Bathsheba, and all. You can go through that and look at the story for yourself, and that's in 2 Samuel chapter 11, and you can go and read about that. But his eye gate is what got him in trouble. He sent the troops ahead, and he stayed back, and then ended up getting in trouble. And so, just like social media, going to these different sites, looking at different things, begin to, can eventually get you in trouble. And so, parents, you can go and you can talk to your kids about that story of David and Bathsheba at some point. But again, that's in 2 Samuel chapter 11, for the sake of time here. But again, thank you so much for joining us today for Prayer Before the Bell Plus. I hope this information has been beneficial to you. Please share the broadcast, because again, a lot of kids will be getting electronic devices for Christmas, and these are just the basic things that they should know, and just things to try to help you parents help to filter what they're doing on their phones, or whatever electronic device that they're using, whether it's the computer or a tablet, so on and so forth. Our Prayer Before the Bell Plus comes on every Monday. The broadcast every Monday, 7:30 a.m. Every Monday at 7:30 a.m. Also, if you would like to email your prayer request, to me, I will pray over them. I will take some time to pray over them on the broadcast. Just make sure you send them to me at prayerbeforethebell@gmail.com. That's prayer, the letter B, the number 4, the bell @gmail.com. And I'll go through and I'll look at those, and then I'll pray over them. Also, if the show has been a blessing to you, you can sow into the show with hashtag prayer before the bell. That is hashtag prayer before the bell. And and you can give there, given to given to Prayer Before the Bell Plus. All right, thank you so much for joining us. I pray over each and every one of you today. I pray over the start of your day. I pray success. I decree that you will have a successful day, and as much as you put in, I pray that you will get even that much out. I'm asking God to cover you, and as you go, those who are walking, those who are riding the buses, I pray safety and protection over each and every one of you. And I pray that you would have good success with your teachers. I pray over the teachers who are having to teach, who are teaching the students. I cover you, and I thank you, God, that you will cause them to be able to reach this next generation, God. They have a hard job, but I thank you right now. I pray for God's wisdom to be upon you to teach. And I thank you for the children. I pray over them, that as they come into the classroom, that the children are obedient to their teachers, and that they are ready to learn. Then that, God, that we know that it's not just the teachers' job to do the teaching, but it also, teaching starts at home. So I pray a successful day over each and every one of you today. God bless you, and I'll see you next week for Prayer Before the Bell Plus. Thank you so much for joining me.